listening to the Becoming More Me podcast with me, Theresa Lear Levine. You're already enough. But if you're anything like me, you thrive when you're stretching and developing yourself, creating more of the person you feel called to be. This podcast is here to inspire and support you. Let's release the negative, reinforce the positive, and elevate our vibe together as we tap into our limitless potential to transform and grow. Well, hello there. It is one of those mornings post-workout for me where my ADHD brain is going crazy. And I got to admit, sometimes it's nice to just sit down to this podcast and sort things out, because when I'm done, I have greater clarity. And I'm really, really hopeful that it has a similar effect on you, that you get to think about things in a different perspective, a different light, and move on after you've listened, thinking about your own challenges or schedule or goals or relationships in a new lens, because perspective and consciousness are seriously everything. Okay. So I wanted to start by saying that very soon, probably about in the next 30 days, I am going to be doing a free workshop, and I'm putting together the details of it now. And with that said, I invite any of you who are listening to please, please, please comment, send me an email, Theresa@theresalearlevine.com, or reach out in whatever way you prefer to communicate with me. You can hit me up on Instagram @Theresa Lear Levine, send me a message on Facebook. Hey, guess what? I'm also Theresa Lear Levine there. Or like I said, you can send me an email or leave a review on the podcast with suggestions. But I want to know what things would be most helpful for you to apply the types of strategies and resolution and energetic resolve that I like to give to things. So think about the things that you'd like to use EFT on, the things that you need mindset coaching around, the places where you keep getting stuck, even if you already know better or know differently. Okay. And then please, please, please send me a message, even if it's anonymous, and let me know about it, because I really want this workshop to be the first of many that I'm going to be putting out to really, really serve the need that you guys have. And I can't do that if the need isn't expressed, right? So please share the things that fall into those categories that I could really deliver some great coaching or resolution for in a workshop. Okay. And then I'll make sure that you're invited and you'll get to attend, and we can really work into it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very, very excited about this new development and excited to get back into it, because I used to do a lot of workshops, a lot of free 5, 7, 14-day challenge type things in my previous business, which was more focused on health and fitness and nutrition. Of course, my business now is all about health, mind, body, spirit, emotions. So it's all intertwined, right? But it's been a while since I've done these, and I love the energy of them. I love getting to interact personally with people who have an interest in improving themselves and growing from trying something new or digging deeper or exploring differently than they're used to doing, because that's where the breakthroughs come. So shoot me a message, please, because that's going to make it 1,000 times better than if I just assume what you guys want, right? So thanks in advance for that. And I guess, with that said, a lot of times I think that people lack the clarity to begin with to understand where the help would be most useful. And when I began doing mindfulness practices decades ago at this point, it was all those new little pockets of consciousness or layers of consciousness. Sometimes you do a meditation or you hear something and it really lights you up and opens you up for a short period. but then you go back to your old ways and it closes. Other times you do something and it's like it shaves a layer off and you don't allow that layer to come back on. There's not too much resistance. You've done enough work and you can then shed that once and for all. And you can see what's underneath of that. And that becomes the next thing to focus on. And personal growth, development, resolution, all of those things, it's a all your life thing. And I know it can sound really contradictory because EFT, the modality that is at the heart of a lot of what I do. It's not all of what I do by any means. My coaching and my ways of working with people incorporate a ton of other strategy and modalities and visualization and meditation and just basic, life coaching and psychological approaches. However, EFT is probably the most powerful of those because when you can get your mind and body speaking the same language and you can calm your nervous system around the issue, you can get to the root of the problem easier. And when you get to the root of the problem, it doesn't come back again. So the potential is huge. The speed is super fast. However, if people are constantly using it just to take an edge off or just to take a layer off and not go deeper, then it's more of a coping mechanism or a maintenance tool. And that's fine. We all need those. Then it is a way to actually solve the problem. But that's not the modality's fault, that it's not solving the problem. That comes from the mindset and the approach that you give the work. So that's where somebody like me comes in and can see, okay, so here's the challenge. Here's the thing that this person keeps coming up against. Maybe it's just this feeling of anxiety over and over and over again. And first, we can kind of work to lower that because until we get that general resistance down, it's really hard to see what's underneath. But once we get that general resistance down, then we can really start exploring what it might be stemming from. And that is honestly when things get really exciting. So sure, anyone and everyone can take off the edge of stress, anxiety, fear, phobias, all of that stuff with EFT without having any, formal training or really deep knowledge of the practice. But if you're really looking for life-changing shifts, you're going to need to go deeper. And it's so cool when you do. But I think that sometimes people think, oh, well, I've done this and it hasn't changed and it must not work. And that's not the case at all. It's just a matter of how the work is being applied and how the issue is being explored and how much you're choosing to allow to be resolved. It's all about allowing too, because a lot of times we're putting up an energetic resistance to the very healing and change that we say we want, because it also feels unsafe. It feels unfamiliar. We don't know what that other reality holds for us. But even if the current reality or picture sucks and is awful and we really don't like it and we wish for change, we're familiar with it. We know how to handle it. We know how its cycle works and it is familiar. And all of that creates a feeling of safety. And that is what we were always looking for. When you can look at any problem through the lens of how unsafe it makes you feel, and also realize that that is a feeling, a thought, a belief, not necessarily a fact, a reality, or a truth, then you can really start to pare down that fear and start making those choices that once made you go into that fight, flight, freeze, or flee mode. And that is the real value of doing the work, whatever the work might be for you, whether it's talk therapy or EFT or visualizations or EMDR or whatever it might be. That's the real value. So, and that just takes us to how important belief is, because those stories, those thoughts, those beliefs are really, really forming the choices that we make. And when we can separate them from what is actually happening, what is actually real, and what is actually true, we can really start showing up in a way, way different way. So it can really help to get clear around things, because we can go through these, groundhog days of our own pain and despair over and over again. And keep, why isn't anything changing? Why does this keep happening over and over again? But if we're not showing up differently with a different energy to meet the situation or different tools to bring to it in solution, then there's absolutely no reason for the universe to answer us with a different outcome. So that is why the whole theory of having a why that is deep and well-formed and repeated to yourself daily when it comes to something that you really want to see be different in your life is so freaking important. And that's also why that is part of the visualization and affirmation process that I teach, because unless you're bringing that top of mind for yourself every day, it's going to get really easy to not do the work, to stay in the old ways, and to remain comfortable, safe, familiar, routine, all of those things that we flock to and that feel natural for us, instead of stepping outside of that into those things that feel unfamiliar, unsafe, risky, and daunting, to say the least. But our belief is behind all of it. Our reasons why will bring us the ability to put a voice into those feelings, allow those emotions to move, which EFT is amazing at helping to facilitate, and give us a different outcome. So take time today to seek out clarity around the issues that you're having, and to really, really differentiate your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs from what is actually true. And to ask yourself questions. What would it take to achieve, fill in the blank with whatever it is that you're trying to do? What would it take to feel differently? How can I move myself a baby step today in the direction that I want to go with something? What would it take? Because those are the questions that we need to ask ourselves and the universe in order for the law of attraction to go into effect. And oftentimes we're told and understand that the law of attraction works when we ask and then allow for receiving. However, what we fail to do is hold the energy of that which we asked to receive. And as soon as we ask the universe to bring us something, but get out of receiving mode, there's a whole lot of confusion going on. And we can't hand over a request and then leave the energy of it and expect it to come to fruition. So you can't ask for something and then turn around and be like, oh, I asked for it, but probably never going to happen. So just going to go about my day and expect anything to be different, because it won't. And all you're doing is proving your own power either way. So making a choice to prove your own power in a way that's actually empowering and actually delivers a different result is where the change is going to be. Now, is staying in receiving mode super easy? No, it takes practice. It takes practice to catch yourself when you're out of it. And it takes practice to understand how to raise your frequency and change your mind in order to go in a different direction. But everything you desire, every one of your goals, all of your dreams are tied up in your belief or lack thereof. That faith is really important. So think of those things that are challenging you. Shoot me a message. I would love, love, love to include them in the topics or teachings of the workshop that I will be doing in May of 2022. Now, if you're listening to this and it's long after that, still send me a message. Maybe I'm doing a similar workshop or I have something new coming out, and I can definitely include your ideas in the formation of the next thing that I'm working on, because there's always something, just like personal development. There's always something that I'm working on to next level the processes, the outcomes, and the results that the people that I do this for are looking for. And you're one of them. So thanks for listening. Thanks for showing up today. Go get yourself some clarity and start raising your frequency to meet that which you want to bring into fruition in this world. Be well. Thanks so much for listening. If you loved this episode, please share it with a friend or post on social media and tag me so I can personally connect and thank you. Until next time, keep taking bold and brave action steps towards becoming more of who you want to be in this world. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough. Keep shining your light.